Election was held in Anambra yesterday, and the result is out. Guess what? We're going to bring you a brief analysis of what played out and then take some reactions in a matter of time. Just stay with us. We're going to begin this very program in a couple of minutes. My name is Franklin Ebuka. Good morning.
Udala Radio. The countdown is over. Anambra decides 2025 is here.
Don't care what they yarning about me in particular. Try on the road chasing my dream because I know chasing for me. Wanna love like a man from my love. Barakota Ikisha my love. Everyone select come along. No they find anybody in the money I want. Only here with the people they talk. But again I shall get it till love. There's a life from no one, no get another one. I go take and do it in a love. Waiting you love. Waiting I know. Waiting I know. Waiting on my own. No words will be vodka. Mr. Honey Ginger. But I know they waste time. Mr. Honey Ginger.
The countdown is over. Anambra decides 2025 is here. The countdown is over. Anambra decides 2025 is here. The countdown is over. Anambra decides 2025 is here.
With all our hearts, shining light that we bear. We're the only ones to make her brighter, the only ones to make her better, the only ones to make Anambra shine. With our sweat and blood, every breath of our lives, with trust in God, we will lift our homeland high. We believe in togetherness, we'll build a land of progress. With the spirit of Anambra, with the spirit of Anambra, with the spirit of Anambra, states we love.
Alright, okay, thank you for staying tuned to the Radio 104.7 FM. We're glad to have you join us this very morning on this very dial. And of course, you don't normally hear my voice on Sunday mornings, but today I am here because we have something special for you, because a special day calls for a special development. Of course, this special broadcast that we're going to bring you this very morning between now and the 12th noon, and it's going to be on the outcome of the Anambra gubernatorial election, because less than 24 hours after we went to the polls to elect a new governor for the next 4 years, the result had been announced. Early this very morning, the result was announced by INEC, and as we speak now, we have a governor that has been elected for the next 4 years. By the time his tenure expires by March, of course, he's going to be sworn in for another 4 years. And from what we saw in the field yesterday, there have been different developments, different talking points. While we get this very conversation, we're trying to look at those talking points and then take reactions from various stakeholders in this very election. It's no longer news, or it could be news to you depending on when you have when you heard that very development. Like I said before, that this very morning, Governor Chukwuma Soludo of All Progressive Grand Alliance APGA was re-elected, or announced re-elected, as the governor of Anambra State, following a sweeping victory in the November 8, 2025 governorship election. The returning officer for the election and the vice chancellor of the University of Benin, Professor Edoba Omoroge, he announced the final result early Sunday morning at the Independent National Electoral Commission's office or headquarters in Anambra State. And according to the official figures, Professor Soludo polled 422,664 votes, winning in all 21 local government areas of the state. He defeated his closest rivals, Nicholas Okachukwu of the All Progressive Congress APC, who polled 99,445 votes, and Paul Chukwum of the Young Progressive Party YPP, who garnered 37,753 votes. Other major contenders included George Morgan of Labour Party. He polled 10,576 votes, and then John Nwosu of the African Democratic Congress. He polled a total of 8,208 votes. Then the candidate of the PDP, Jude Ezenwafo, he scored 10,576 votes without any campaign. And not actually him. Without campaign, he polled 1,406 votes. These are the results we have from that very election, as announced by INEC this very morning. And interestingly, we had 2.8 million voters registered for this very election, and out of these 2.8 million registered voters, we saw total vote cast at 595,298, and out of these 595,298 votes, some of them were declared invalid. About 11,244 votes declared invalid, and we talked about it here on this platform, trying to educate people on how to vote and vote better so that their votes will not be declared invalid. But look at what we have now: 11,244 votes rejected because of one thing or the other. And from what we have gathered so far, we are seeing a voter turnout of over 21%. I try to compare this to what we had in the past 3 years, then what would you be? What would that be? And what could you say about this very development? So we are going to look at this result that has been announced by INEC this very morning. And I have gentlemen with me here in the studio who are going to help us to do the analysis. And later in the show, we are going to be joined on phone by some other commentators and likewise an election observer in Anambra State. They're going to join us on phone for us to make sense out of this. So if this is the first time you're hearing it, that means we are the first to break that very story to you. But if it's not, of course, we are going to get more information from this very platform as we speak. So let's get to hear the way it went down before I get to bring in the guest we have this very morning.
Omorike, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Vice Chancellor, University of Benin, thereby certified that I am the returning officer for the 2025 Anambra State governorship election held on 8th day of November 2025. I also certify that the election was contested and that the winner emerged. The candidate with the highest number of votes cast and percentage have all been computed. I therefore declare that Soludo Charles Chukuma of the APGA, I will satisfy the requirement of the law and score the highest number of votes in this election, is hereby declared the winner and returned elected.
The countdown is over. Anambra Decides 2025 is here.
With all our hearts, we pray and ask, God bless Anambra.
And of course, you heard the way it went down, the way it was announced by the returning officer for that very election. My name is Franklin. Good morning once more, and thank you for joining us on this very special broadcast this very Sunday morning. And I have with me here in the studio, I have Aloysius Atta. He's a journalist and a Southeast chairman of Civil Liberties Organization. Good morning, Aloysius. Thank you for making your time to be here.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Frank.
I also have a barrister, Ugo Gunnadi. He's a legal practitioner. Thank you for joining us, barrister. Okay, so you have heard from them. So we are going to begin with this very analysis. Like I mentioned, Mr. Loy, that somebody can say that the election has been long and worst, except for those who would like to go to the court to challenge the outcome, maybe for one reason or the other. But from what we have seen so far, let's begin from there. What do you make of the outcome of the election as has been announced by INEC, and also before we now get to the overall process?
Well, it wouldn't be wrong if I say that this is a victory foretold for APGA and Mr. Governor Soludo, because if you watched the whole thing from the beginning of the process till now, the candidates, the electoral process, display of power of incumbency, so many factors that played out, the contestants, their rating and what have you, can easily conclude that the incumbent was going to carry the day. So that's why this announcement shouldn't, I don't think it will surprise the majority of Anambrarians or any other person who have been following the trend before now.
So for you, it was expected?
Yes.
Landslide?
Of course, landslide to an extent, in the sense that the winner, of course, will win with a wide margin. Not landslide like you mentioned in your introductory scene, we have 2 point something million registered voters in Anambra.
Yes, 2.8.
And the total votes cast,
just a few numbers,
so
less than 600,000.
Less than 600. So what that tells you the decline in our political participation and because why can't in an election where you have 2 point something, almost 3 million registered voters, why can't we have at least 50 to 55 or 60% participation? But you see how it's panning out.
Okay, we're going to come to that very well. Now, let me also take the reaction of Barrister Ogunade. What you think about the outcome of the election, the result? Was it surprising to you? Were you also expecting the result to be the way it turned out to be, 21/21? And the governor, when he was going for his campaign, he predicted that it was going to be a 21/21 victory, and it happened that very way.
Politics, they say, is local. Politics is a matter of structure. If you look at the political dynamics of Anambra State, APGA have held sway since this republic. And I doff my cap for Anambarians. They don't shift this road that way. Then if you now rate other political parties and their candidates, you see that it was just a walkover for APGA and her candidate, who of course is an incumbent governor of the state. PDP is a party in this area. They deliberately shot themselves on the leg. APC wobbled into the election and they were wobbling all through the campaign. These other parties, Labour Party, ADC, they contested for the sake of contesting. They never demonstrated seriousness of a party contesting for a post like the governor. Their candidates were also more or less dark horses. Moralo is not a dark horse in politics, but he never demonstrated strength. Okachukwu is also not a dark horse in politics, but he disappointed people. The vibe that we used to know him with was not there. He was just not there, practically not there. Then the other candidates are just dark horses, very much unknown persons, campaigning, making a mockery of campaign. But there was something that I actually wanted to say that the governor did not get right when he said that each contestant will pay 50 million for campaign posters and billboards. These gentlemen risked it, paid that amount, had their billboards, had their posters, but they never campaigned to follow up these posters. So 21/21 that Soludo got is not a surprise to me, and it should not be a surprise to anybody. APRA has the structure, APRA has the strength. That is it. It's not a surprise to me.
So you mentioned something. You mentioned the governor talking about the requirement that ANSA made that people should pay. Okay, not people. Contestants and parties should pay 50 million naira before they can go for outdoor campaign.
Yes.
Was it the governor or an agency under the state government? Because ANSA was the one that was driving it, and the governor also paid. The governor and the party, his party also paid that very 50 million naira.
No. If you are the governor, the buck stops at your table. Every policy made by any agency, the governor must know about it. If the governor does not want it to happen that way, he could have stopped it. So I believe that was very much undemocratic. The governor cannot feign ignorance of what that agency that he appointed, that he consulted, did. That was highly undemocratic.
Okay.
Highly undemocratic.
So you said that Okachukwu didn't show the vibrancy he was known for. So what happened to him?
Well, I think Okachukwu was overwhelmed by circumstance. APC is just arriving in the state. And if you want to play politics, it has to be local. And if you want to play politics, it has to be a structural thing. If you come to Onitsha here, what this, what that, you must have that structure of APC in those words. And I tell you, in most places in Anambra State, there are no structures of APC, so to speak. Strong structure of APC that have been attending meeting, that have been organizing themselves, that have been reaching out. They don't have those structures. Even if you want to rig election, even if you want to talk of vote buying and vote selling, there must be a structure that will do the buying for you. There must be a structure that will be talking to the people selling their votes. So APC was lacking all those things. So that was what I think demoralized Okachukwu. A campaign not about moving around with various vehicles on the road. It's about whom are you talking to and who is on ground in that particular word for you. I happen to be a politician myself. If you don't have the structure, there's no way you can win anything in politics. That is it.
Okay, so back to your lawyer, because we're talking about the 21/21, which the governor recorded. Like I said initially, that he predicted that it's going to happen, and it turned out that very way. In fact, during the campaign, he said that he didn't have any challenger, and people said that he was bluffing. And at the end of the day, it happened. So, what do you think counted against the other contestant in this very election?
Well, so many things counted against other contestants, and so many things also counted on the side of the incumbent. And if you take it from the fundamentals, Nigeria is a peculiar country with its own political peculiarities as well. So if you watch Nigeria's own peculiar political environment, you should know that power of incumbency is a strong factor. And the person, if you are contesting election against somebody who is going for a second tenure, it's not an ordinary election. In fact, if you check all the indices, and you know that you are not up to that much, the best option is to kind of respect yourself, hold your money, and allow the person to just complete that tenure. Because it will just like fighting or moving against a moving train. Look at the whole thing clearly. If you look at the history also, like I said, if not maybe that a particular governor that has so much underperformed and is also not in good terms with the central government, that's Mr. President, check it out from history whether you have ever seen any incumbent lose election. If the person, it's either the person has performed so poor and the person has no relationship with the central government, that is Mr. President. But if the person has performed, if the person also enjoys a robust relationship with the center, and that center is not so much interested to grab that power or to snatch that power from him, it's more like wasting your time, because they have all the wherewithal, the financial muscle, the connection, the contacts, the structures. Check out Anambra State over time. It started from the time of P2B, a situation whereby the government is controlling the market structure, government is controlling town union, government is controlling almost everything happening in every community, the youth organization, what have you. So even the church to an extent. So all these things will come to bear on what happens during the election. Then this zoning of a thing, where some people will tell you that in practical terms it is better to allow even a non-performing incumbent to complete his second tenure, so that the person will serve out the tenure of that zone and not disrupt the zoning arrangement. So others will queue online and be waiting. Let us just allow him complete this thing, and it will be our turn. All these things count.
Okay, so do you think that there was an element of performance too in all the variables and all indices?
Of course. Performance is one factor, because it is that performance that gives the person a kind of input legitimacy, whereby people can testify that even though I might not have gotten my own personal financial gain from this government, I can as well say that I'm stepping on the my feet on some of the things tangible development projects the person has done. The administration.
All right, so we're going to come to the general assessment of this very election, but let me now introduce Dr. Tony Lisambeki. He joins us. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning,
All
Ebuka Franklin. Good morning, Aloy Trisata, and my very good friend here. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Nde Anambra. Good morning, Indonesia, where we are transmitting live from. We have been all awake throughout the night, and we've seen the development. We've seen every projection. The most important thing is that the election was conducted peacefully. You are welcome. I think this is a special broadcast for us to talk about this election. You're welcome.
Okay, so sweet victory for Abga, and some persons will tell you that they were expecting it. Some will tell you that they weren't expecting it, depending on the indices upon which you base your analysis. Now, where I want us to go to now, let's look at the general assessment of the election. From what you know, how would you assess the conduct of the election, looking at all the election stakeholders, the roles they played in ensuring that the election was conducted peacefully, and at the end of the day, result was declared? And secondly, how swift do you think that the election result was announced?
I think we must first and foremost thank Nde Anambra